It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Good idea. Bad idea.
Hey guys, I keep coming to you like this. Believe it or not, I had spring break recently and I was able to film a couple of episodes that I'm currently editing right now for you all. So you have those to look forward to as I continue to watch more new anime, but I thought that since this news just broke and considering it's a show that I really care about, I wanted to share it with you all, but you may already know. So yesterday it was revealed that Adult Swim, aka Cartoon Network, aka Turner Broadcasting, essentially, is going to be combining with Production IG to create 2 new seasons of the cult Gainax classic Furikuri, or FLCL, depending on how you know it. This show, I remember watching it growing up in the early 2000s. I thought that it was great, even though it was pretty crazy and I was too young to really understand what the plot was doing. But as I watched it as I got older and I got to understand more things, especially symbolism and context and all that good stuff, the show got even better for me over the years. And to hear that, I guess Production IG got the rights to the show from Gainax, and they were already talking about doing maybe a reboot of the series. So to hear that Adult Swim is actually putting stake into creating more episodes, kind of like what they did with IGPX back in the day, it's good and it's also worrying because along with IGPX, the second season didn't really do that well, so it was kind of like money written off. And if you've watched a Rebel Taxi video, he always talks about that. Like with that and Megas XLR, they cut their losses by writing it off as a tax break. And they normally after that you can't really air it again, but unless they're willing to sit down and do the paperwork, it'll happen. But yeah, I'm a bit worried and a bit excited. I'm confused as to how I'm supposed to feel. On one hand, I would love to see these characters again and to experience them again. I mean, Haruka, oh my god, was great. She was like my favorite part of the show. Kanti, the whole show, like Naota, Mamimi, it's hard to put into words. You have to see the show because it's so out there, because it was originally made by Gainax, and you know how they can get. And it just a lot of symbolism in the show about growing up and younger people wanting to grow up too fast and like not appreciating kind of the childhood or the now. It's kind of like that. One day, probably soon now with this news, I'm going to do a review of Fully Cooley so I can try and better articulate just why I really like this series and why I just find it so fascinating. But yeah, on that hand, I really want to see this happen, but on the other hand, is it necessary? I talked about this in my Kurosetsuji 2 review, which you can find on Daily Motion. I talked about how the first Kurosetsuji ended so well. It ended on the right note and it left you satisfied. But with the second season, because they ended it so well, they had to pretty much mess it up, and a lot of people who are fans of Kurosetsuji regard the second season as kind of like a big mistake. So I'm afraid that that's what these 2 seasons are going to do to Furikuri, because it ended on a nice note, while albeit confusing when I first watched it. As I watched it again, I deemed it to be like a really nice little note, kind of ambiguous, but a good ambiguous. It's a hopeful ambiguous, kind of like that the main character has now learned his lesson and that he can apply what he's done through the course of the series. So like he's had a growth and you feel assured in yourself that that as he does go throughout his life, he can apply this growth and continue to grow from there. You know, it doesn't leave you worrying like, oh God, he's gonna, you know, screw up, or oh my God, this is gonna be horrible for him, or he didn't learn anything. You know, it left on a pretty good note. So they're gonna have to do something with that. They're gonna have to screw it up somehow in order to get these characters back. Unless we're not dealing with Naoto or Mamimi and we're moving to a different town. But the setting of Furikuri, especially with the medical mechanica plant, is what made it unique, because that plant and Haruka's presence is what, you know, fully drove the background plot of the show, essentially dealing with a space pirate that Haruka was following and who had fallen in love with, and, you know, was trying to help him and everything. And you know, it's a shame that that story would have to get fucked up for another 2 seasons. You know, it's kind of like when you notice that a show was supposed to end at a point, but they keep on going. Now, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. It all depends on how they work it out. Okay? I'm not automatically dismissing it. I have learned over the years to just wait and see how it plays out. And while I do have my suspicions, I'm going to try and stay as positive as I can. This is very, very early news. Like, it just happened yesterday as from the making of this video. So we have a good long while to see how this will actually play out. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the news of the new Furikuri Season 2 and Season 3? Yes, 2 seasons are confirmed. I will leave a link in the description below for the official notice from Adult Swim, as well as a couple of articles for you to look at. And I will see you all in a new video, a new review, which I am working on. And I thank you all for your patience. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye.